Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, Rhodesian here. Roughly some 30 hours of class, 6 tests, countless demonstrations with rifles, shotguns, handguns, loaded with dummy ammunition, and I still cannot purchase a firearm. Yes, that is correct. I am looking at around 8 to 10 weeks of waiting for federal pencil pushers to rubber stamp form after form after form before I can handle a firearm and go home with it. This is the result of gun control, my American friends. The government isn't going to show up tomorrow to take away all your plinkers, but they will enact bullshit legislation that takes away bit after bit after bit. But maybe we're wrong. Maybe common sense gun control can make us safer, since it ensures that the criminals, the loonies, and the bubbas cannot acquire firearms. Would violent crime go down, or the incidence of firearm accidents? Will the courses that I took ultimately make me a safer firearm owner, and make sure that I don't accidentally blow off my head years down the road? Let's examine this. The courses were not exceptionally difficult, hundreds of PowerPoint slides, videos, simple written exams, and demonstrations to show that you are half paying attention. The vast majority of this was simply common sense when handling a dangerous object. Do make sure that the firearm is safe. Don't point it at your buddy's head and pretend to shoot him. Stuff like that. The only part of the courses that one learned something that wasn't obvious were from the sections on legal storage, transportation, display, etc., etc. But has this made Canada a safer country than the wild, wild west neighbors to the south? First, let's see that there is simply no correlation between gun crime and gun ownership. If there are more guns, crime does not increase. They are not linked in the slightest. However, it is often repeated that over 30,000 Americans are killed by guns every year, and this sounds like an insane number that requires immediate action. But let's put this in perspective for a moment. Take a look at this image. Number 12. Firearms. Yes, not even in the top 10. And here's the pie chart in table form with a bit more detail for us to examine. Firearms from 1999 through 2016 make up a whopping 1.3% of deaths in America. I'm getting the sense that the manufactured media crisis is just a touch overblown. But nonetheless, let's continue. Surely there's a hint of truth in here somewhere. So back to our 30,000 number. It looks as though this table backs up that number all right, and Obama and Clinton were dead right on gun violence. Dead wrong. While they present that 30,000 number to us, they never delve into how all those souls perished. 2/3 of this is from suicide, self-inflicted, planned out, by a tortured person who has the goal of taking their own life. Whether by knife, noose, or gun, they will accomplish this. The CDC from 2013 reports that there were a little over 11,000 homicides, a vastly smaller number to the 30,000. Okay, but how about accidents? Surely a safety course would put a massive dent in accidental deaths, or nearly eliminate them entirely. Once again, let's look at the CDC's number for 2013. A grand total of 505 accidental deaths from firearms, compared to a 35,369 deaths in motor vehicle accidents. Now, where are the calls from our politicians to ban assault Oh. Right. Accidental deaths from firearms account for less than 1% of all accidental deaths in America. Of course, sources for all this in the description below. Now, let's compare this to Canada. Surely we must be an infinitely safer country up here with our strict gun laws, prohibition on certain firearms, and mandatory safety courses. While it is true that Canada has a much lower homicide rate, 1.68, per 100,000 compared to the American national average of 4.9, which is still smaller than the global average of 6.2. That difference diminishes significantly were we to exclude American cities with strict gun control such as Chicago, New York, Detroit, Baltimore, and others. This places Canada closest to states such as South Dakota or Minnesota, both of which permit concealed carry, might I add. However, debunking gun control myths would be a topic for another video, so I will keep this on point and short and leave the articles for you to read below. So, for homicides, point Canada. How about accidents? One might expect that mandatory firearm safety courses would mean that we have far fewer accidents than the burgers. Every year, an average of 240 accidents with firearms occur in Canada. This is about half the rate as the American number. Now, of those injured, an average between 13 to 23 die from these accidents. This is using the 2004 through 2018 numbers from StatsCan. Of course, sources below to check out yourself. But wait, America is a country with 325.7 million people and 22 million illegals, compared to Canada with a population of 36.29 million. To compare to a country with 10 times the population, our 240 accidents per year becomes 2,400 accidents, and our 13 to 23 deaths per year become 130 to 230 deaths. Now, when you compare a country that has roughly 30 hours of safety training versus a country with no federal mandatory safety training, you should expect a much larger difference than about half. One could argue that this makes a difference, and if we only had another 30 hours of courses and exams, we could drop that 2,400 number even lower. However, what might be the proof of this? Driving lessons and examinations must be taken prior to driving a car, yet accidents remain a large number, and we have no way of proving that more lessons would diminish or eliminate accidents entirely. Accidents will happen, short of removing all the sharp objects and patting up all the corners in the rooms. The nanny government cannot ensure our safety entirely. It is one's own personal responsibility to ensure their own safety. Now, this might seem completely alien to those who grew up in the city or the suburbs, but safe firearm ownership simply isn't that hard. We all grew up with butcher knives in the kitchen where our mothers prepared dinner. Yet, how many here have stabbed themselves with it? No one? Anyone? Beulah? There's no knife safety training course. This would be absurd. Yet, those accidents seem fairly easy to avoid by using a bit of common sense and ensuring that one is safely handling the object. Is the government necessary for this? Clearly, no. We have just answered this. So what's our conclusion? Is Canada safer by the numbers? Yes, but not by that much for the investment. And it would be hard to make the case that more safety courses would diminish these numbers. But what about America? Is it as dangerous as we hear it is? Definitely not. America is the land for the people who prefer to be exposed to the inconveniences of attending too much liberty than those attending too small of a degree of it, and the numbers reflect this. This is a message to my American friends out there. Don't listen to common sense gun control. It's just an excuse. It's a lie. Common sense gun control doesn't help. It only restricts liberties, and the numbers it claims to reduce are not that much. Not by a long shot.
'Cause we're all Rhodesians and we'll fight through thick and thin. We'll keep our land the freelands of the enemy coming in. We'll keep them north of us and easy till that river's running dry. And this mighty land will